lot of my songs are horizontal.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is I'm preaching at you. I'm like, hey, come on. Like I've seen cancer disappear.
Yeah.
I've seen metal plates dissolve, or call it whatever you want to. That's the only way I can describe. I've seen families reunited, and you're kind of coaching the church. You're coaching people, right? But gratitude, there's this moment where you're coaching yourself in the bridge, but then the chorus is so vertical. So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again. And that moment, every single show, every night, every worship set, that is my favorite moment, because it's where everyone's attention goes from here to here.
Yes.
And there's nothing better than that.
Brandon, welcome back to the podcast.
Lake.
It is so good to be back.
It really
Thank
is. I want to come
you.
across the table and just go like this.
We can hold hands the whole time.
Would that make you uncomfortable?
Do what you gotta do.
Bromance.
We,
Pure
Jennie
bromance.
Lusko, myself, everyone listening, I know, enjoyed so much the last time we had the conversation.
Yeah,
same.
Special.
We heard more origin story. We heard songwriting passion, what shined. And as I remember back to that conversation, and every time we're together, it's just your love for God and your wide-eyed wonder that he would let you do anything.
Dang, I'm going to already start crying. I've been so tender the past few days. I don't know why. Probably because we have an amazing, opportunity to minister to some kids tonight and some young adults and stuff. But yeah, I'm just, oh man, I was like actually driving here, getting ready for sound check, and just, this is an easy place here in Montana to get emotional, because you literally look around and you see just the favor of God and his kindness and his beauty and his wonder. And so you can get so easily, you can feel out here. And I think the busyness of life, and even me, it's like, okay, what's the next song? What's the next record? What's the next event? You can kind of become numb even doing the work of the Lord, right?
Totally.
But you come out here, and I just thank y'all so much for taking care of me and giving me an opportunity, and my family who's here, just an opportunity to really reflect on God's goodness, his kindness. And I am overwhelmed that I get to do this, be a part of what I like to think that I'm a small part of a very big thing God's doing.
That's a great way to
Beautiful.
put it. Yeah, wow. And that comes through again and still does. And I hope that all of us never lose that.
Yeah.
Right? If we feel grace isn't amazing, like slap yourself with something heavy. You know what I mean? Because it's not good.
I think maybe a key to that is like, anytime you feel like numb to the goodness of God, is like, look back. Look back. The fact that you're standing here today, and you might be going through the storm, but you got breath in your lungs. You probably have a few people, or maybe even one person that's like in your corner. And if you really take the time, I think you got a lot more to be grateful for than you think you do when you're in the middle of it.
Totally.
You have breath in your lungs. You got a lion in those.
You got a lion inside your lungs. Let's go.
Brandon, I will say this. I am not a singing preacher. Anybody who's ever heard me sing or been next to me in church is like, praise God for that. I'm not one of those preachers that cuts into song. But one time I have, only ever, felt it so much, and it was singing gratitude.
Oh, really?
I was at a youth conference, and I was talking about the power of preaching to yourself.
Wow.
And I was just thinking for an illustration, and right then and there, I thought, of course, of how bad you feel after watching Netflix for 5 hours. So I was talking to the students, like, how you feel lousy when you've watched, and like David, the episode starts in 5, 4, 3, and you're just like, we're watching another one.
Right.
But then I said, but you know how good you feel, and it just came into my head after you have spent 3 minutes in your car on K-Love singing, "Come on, my soul," and I just did it kind of like a couple bars. The room took it.
Come on.
It was amazing.
I got the tiniest taste of like being a worship leader for a second when the room took it, and they took it. They didn't need 2 notes of it from this bad singing, me, falsetto, for them to just go. And then they took it, they went through it again, and it was just the power of that. So I wanted to personally say how obviously ridiculously
thank you.
Contagious the spirit in that song
is.
True.
Wow. Well, I mean, what's beautiful to me in that, what you just said, is it doesn't take much to worship God. And you say a few notes and people just take it. And it's so cool to see God use that song. I don't know if we talked about it last time, but that song almost didn't make my record. We recorded it and I hated it, actually. I was like, I love what it says, but the way it sounds right now.
Wow.
And no offense to any, like, I'm not dogging anyone, but I was like, this sounds like every other worship song out there, but I want it to sound like my worship song, like my song. So we stripped everything away, and I was like, just give me the guitar, put me in front of a mic. I'm gonna sing this as organically, as passionately, as truthfully as I can, and that ended up becoming the track. Wasn't a single, wasn't a featured track or anything, but then God just breathed on it, and right place, right time. You know, it's like, I love, like, my pastor says that all the time. He's like, it might not be the best thing, but there's something to the timing of God. Maybe, you know, right place, right time, and God breathes on it. And I think too, why I love that song is because it's vertical. A lot of my songs are horizontal, and what I mean by that is I'm preaching at you. I'm like, hey, you know, come on, like, I've seen cancer disappear. I've seen metal plates dissolve, or call it whatever you want to. That's the only way I can describe. I've seen families reunited, and you're kind of coaching the church. You're coaching people, right? But gratitude, there's this moment where you're coaching yourself in the bridge, but then the chorus is so vertical. So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again. And that moment, every single show, every night, every worship set, that is my favorite moment, because it's where everyone's attention goes from here to here.
Yes.
And there's nothing better than that.
Oh my gosh. So
I know,
true.
we had a special moment. I FaceTimed you right afterwards because of how much it meant, but you just referenced, you know, the miracle song, I believe. And you know, we had those moments. My dad had never heard that song before, but in his first chemotherapy for his pancreatic cancer, and he's just, praise God, as of this morning, out of the hospital again. But last couple of days he's been back in, has had gout and all sorts of stuff, like with the cancer hurting his body. It's opened his up to a lot of infection and stuff. But when we sat in that room and I put that song on and we sat there worshiping, holding hands together, it meant so much. So I'm grateful for the vertical songs, but I'm also grateful for a song like that where you spoke into that hospital room and spoke faith into both our hearts. And my dad, you know, tears in his eyes. And so keep writing the verticals and the horizontals. I do want to know.
The diagonals.
And the diagonals.
Hey, we need the diagonals.
Jenny's like, are there more directions? Rhombus. Can you write a rhombus song?
That's a shape, right? It's a direction too.
The song's like,
the song's giving me a rhombus vibe. I was going for a triangle, but this is rhombus.
I'm really car sick.
Isosceles. Geometric patterns. Levi, we get it. You know,
I have a South Carolina education, so you lost me at isosceles. Is that a Greek god? Where is it?
Probably. That's a shape. Skipples. Who writes a song about Pharaoh? I mean, besides 1982 VBS, you know, right?
Pharaoh. Oh, baby, let my people go.
But you've given us a new Pharaoh song, and one with such teeth, and one with such grit. I want to say the word. The Luskos know I'm going for. But that song's got pair of faith hanging, you know. It does though. You know, like that song takes us into the authority we have in Christ, where Satan's going under our feet.
How
did the heck did that writing process go?
Honestly, that song started, I think, kind of like being like, how cool would it be to have a Pharaoh, a modern version of that song? But then also my friends were going through it. And I think that they would, I won't name them, but I think they'd be okay with me sharing. Like, some of our closest friends were on the brink of divorce, and some of my other friends were just going through various situations, and I was just kind of like fed up, and I was like, man, I want a song that's just like all of these things, like shame, guilt, fear, and then Pharaoh, like being the kind of an analogy for all these things, anything that it keeps us bound. So many of my friends were just bound. And I was like, I want a song where I'm just declaring it over them, like, let my people go. I think there's power in what we prophesy. And like, our declarations can literally make a difference. And so that's where I'm like, you know, I'm having these conversations with my friends and these couples, but I'm like, man, I want some songs that when we're not talking and he's on a business trip or blah, 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 he can have a song that's like playing this over and over again, you know? And one of the most powerful things on this tour that I just did, called Miracle Nights Tour, was when Joshua Silverberg, this guy who's been responsible for, God's been responsible for healing so many people, but through Josh's faith, one of the things he's been doing is having people renounce things. So, and there's so much, literally every night, so much deliverance would take place. And there's something I'm learning. I don't have it figured out, but I'm watching people, when deliverance takes place first, then this like healing balm. Like it's like then healing hits the room. But it's been taking people saying, okay, I renounce fear. I renounce shame. I renounce guilt. I renounce the lie that I'm not enough, or I renounce the lie that God will never love me, or that I've done too much and whatever. And as people are like almost like a coat or a cloak, they're like taking those things off, and then they're putting on the garment of who God says they are.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that idea is how Pharaoh kind of started. It was like really for my friends.
Gosh,
and that's
beautiful.
thoroughly biblical. Take off the old man, put on Christ, and
yeah.
I had this sermon series I wanted to do called To the Nines.
Yes.
About different clothes and metaphors and about armor of God.
Love that.
There's so many, right? And
yeah.
your sin was like filthy rags.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve's first mistake was to put fig
That's
leaves
right.
on, right?
Yeah.
And then there's garments in white in Revelation. Like there's something to that.
I've got a new record coming out, and it's literally
I
called...
thought there was a perfect segue.
Yeah. Coat of Many Colors.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about that. But I just
are you kidding me?
It's
where we're going.
Interesting though, because the last time you came on to the podcast, your record hadn't come out yet. Help hadn't come out yet.
Right.
And I wish we had been able to talk about it then, because I think it was 2 days later and it came out, and it was just like, for me personally,
we did plan the release of that episode to coincide
around it. That makes sense. You're so smart.
I'm just letting you know. And we did talk about it in the open.
We did, but it was like we didn't get to actually like talk through it. And I feel like for me, like it ended up being one of those albums. I don't know about you, but like there's those albums that like you'll just listen like over and over again, and like on airplanes.
Yeah, his is Help.
Yeah, right.
I listen to my own.
Everybody
album.
else is, sure.
No, but the one song, "Don't You Give Up on Me,"
right,
was so powerful for me personally. But also it ended up kind of being an anthem for our church, our staff.
I told you that we did our staff advance, but we didn't let people sing. So he had this idea of that song and everyone having to receive it.
Yeah, come on.
Because it's God singing.
Yeah, it's God's voice.
Yeah.
Which people may not realize as it's being sung. I mean, that's really, really powerful.
So beautiful.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no.
We listen to our own voices all the time. It's like, things can shift quick when you hear the voice of God or somebody speaking what he would say, And
it was our staff advance coming out of COVID where we were seeing so much turnover.
Yep.
And it was kind of a time where we just kind of felt like everybody had this spirit of like resignation on them, like almost like there was almost this quitting, and there was quiet quitting happening.
Yeah, right.
We were not leaving, but leaving.
Yeah.
And so it was just almost like God just saying like, come on, don't give up on me. Like let's and that can mean whatever it means to people, because I'm sure there's lots of people who have been maybe suicidal listening to that and felt God like, hey, don't give up on life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard
That's
a lot
how
of stories.
I wrote it. Was I saw kind of in the spirit and in my mind, and I saw a picture of a mom driving. Saw a picture of a mom driving just down the road and so overwhelmed with, home life and kids, and it can be beautiful things, but often beautiful things can feel like such a burden.
Yeah.
And that's often how like God will speak to me, as I see who it's for first. And like House of Miracles actually was never really the when I started writing that, it was actually for hospitals. It wasn't for a physical house like our home.
Wow.
But that's the phrase that I felt like was really fitting. And I actually was thinking, how cool would it be that a hospital would feel like a house of miracles? And but when we started writing this song, again, like gratitude, me and Benjamin William Hastings, my favorite writer, him and Pastor Stephen, and by far my favorite writers, and we started writing this song, and I just like I pictured like a Karen, just like driving down the road and just about to like making plans to take her own life.
Wow.
And I was like, man, what if we just were to write something from God's perspective that said, hey, man, I've got so much more. Please don't give up.
Wow.
Like, trust me.
Beautiful.
So
thank you.
Very good.
So good.
So Coat of Many Colors is the new record. I feel very like we got to kind of be there with you, surfing our way into the release on a lake, talking about your new record.
So we're out on a lake, and I literally got the masters that morning.
Yeah.
And we're about to go out on the lake, and I'm like, okay. And it usually takes a little while to download because it's like big files. And I downloaded right before we got out on the lake.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was able to show some of the songs.
We were loving it. And that night at 10 Montana time, Count 'Em was releasing.
Yeah.
And so to put that on, and I remember saying like, bro, and that boat had a good subwoofer, but it was like dude, this has got low end. No worship song has low end. And your response was,
that's where the Spirit lives.
That's where the Spirit lives. It's a worship. Count 'Em was the second single from the record.
Yeah, so Praise You Anywhere came out, and then and that's the song we were like, man, this feels like so awesome for the church. It's so encouraging to, encourage people, whatever you're going through, man, like you can give him praise. It's what he's worthy of.
So also, bright. That opening song, sonically just.
And it was like, again, it was one that the label looked at me and they're like, we want to take this to radio. We love this. And I was like, it only had a verse 1 and a chorus. That's it. So I had to go back and write verse 2 and a bridge. They're like, this is the song. I turned in 46 songs.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, this is the song. I'm like, the unfinished one?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust y'all. And so we did. And then it's been out for like maybe a month, maybe a little over a month. And it's like over 12. My team just told me yesterday, over 12 million global streams. Like, it's been so cool. And that's the power of having an amazing team behind great songs and stuff. But Praise You Anywhere and Count 'Em was like let me get a little rowdy, brag on God, have some fun, little, diagonal kind of song. Like, these are some crazy lyrics. How many Thomases doubted your promises, but standing here now convinced, like stuff like that. So more than 60,000 angels, just the tip of the spear. Like there's a verse about that, and it's just like, let me list all these cool things about God. He's got
just
thunder.
fun.
It's almost like an epic nerdy Bible trivia.
Right.
Embedded with like, where's this? Yeah, because that's 12 legions.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I could call 12 legions of angels in the 6,000 per. So that's exactly what that would be. Yeah.
Right.
Math.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's really cool.
My producer looked up the exact deal.
6,000
I'm trusting you.
Was a legion, and he said 12, so it would be 60,000.
Yeah.
Is my math?
And just in case it's not, I said more than 60,000, just in case.
I mean, there's probably a few stragglers in the legion.
Yeah.
The sickly one who brought the water. Like, I got the Gatorade, boss. I got the Gatorade. It's like, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Wow.
So the full record is called Coat of Many Colors.
It's called Coat of Many Colors. And yeah, me and my buddy were texting one day and this phrase came out. Obviously, it's not a new phrase. It's from the Bible and the story of Joseph. And so I have 3 boys. And
Bo, Blaze,
yes,
and
Banner.
then
Banner,
who I've not met yet. We haven't met Banner yet.
Baby Banner.
And
although I'm a little mad because I love babies, so I was sad when he was in here.
He is the best baby.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, he is amazing.
Aww.
Knock on wood, but he has been the best baby so far.
It's definitely not.
Yeah, somebody find me a plank.
Yeah.
There's a wooden spoon over there.
It's fine. That's superstitious. Anyways, not our
exactly.
Team.
We don't believe in that
team.
We don't believe in that.
I'm going under ladders.
Yeah.
I'm breaking mirrors.
Right. Sorry. So,
wow.
Just that theme of, having sons and just having such pride for your boys and then, how that translates and how much more like God, clothes us in this coat of many colors that he's, that he just clothes us in love and affirmation. And so it's like, man, what if I could be a song? And I think I wrote 3 or 4 different versions and finally landed it and just fell in love with it. And it's kind of got like a Coldplay vibe, and the bridge turns into kind of a party, and it says, "I wear my coat everywhere I go.
Wow.
I wear my coat. I want the world to know."
Mm.
And just this confidence, and I want to be proud in what God's clothed me in, not egotistical or like whatever, but like confident in who He says I am, and I want people to know that, see that, and so. Also there's like lyrics in there that I kind of resonate with, like being misunderstood, and also like God giving you a dream and maybe sharing it at the wrong time with the wrong people, and learning those lessons of like, but then and then also trusting God for years and years to go, okay, it doesn't look like this dream doesn't look like this is happening right now, but trusting God in the pit that this one day, not that Palace is, there is no like a rival point, but He does have great things.
But it's representative of the calling.
Yeah.
And arriving at what God has for you.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful because you think about how much more symbolic that coat was than just blessing. Because his first coat, his brothers tore from him. His second coat, Potiphar's wife tore from him.
Right.
But this coat of many colors, God gave to him. So, I mean, there's just such full circle vindication, beauty to it.
Yeah.
Joseph had a complicated relationship with his outerwear, right? I mean, and to have songs around all that symbolism and imagery is pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, I need to sit down with you and you tell me all the things about Joseph's life too that like I wouldn't get from.
Well, I did a sermon once called "The Jackets of Joseph." It was a leadership talk.
Wow.
Because there's always going to be people trying to tear stuff off you that are jealous. There's always going to be the enemy sending in the, sexual temptation or money temptation, whatever. But then the jacket God had from no one could tear from him.
Wow.
Is pretty cool.
Good,
That's
Levi,
right.
And the biggest thing about it was sleeves.
Yeah.
His coat of many colors, the first one his dad gave him, were sleeves. His brothers would have worn sleeveless wife beater tunics because they were manual laborers. But his dad, by giving him a jacket with sleeves, said, "This boy ain't working. He's upper class. He's in the C-suite."
Wow.
So I mean, there's a lot to it that made them go.
That's amazing.
They don't like all that. They were in Carhartt going like, "Oh,
right. Well, my coat might not be biblically accurate, but I did have a modern one made, and and that's the cover of the record. And,
okay.
And it's
here's
beautiful.
The cool thing. It's really cool, and it's a really cool God thing. Reached out to a stylist friend of mine, and who was like moving from New York to LA. And he happened to have, I was like, there's one guy who can make this coat. And I'll think to like make it really worth it for me.
Yeah.
And it's Greg Lauren, who's the nephew of Ralph Lauren.
Heard
and
of
I
him.
just love his
No
work.
big deal.
Like if you're familiar with like double RL and all that kind of stuff. So this is like the nephew of Ralph Lauren. And my buddy was like, dude, I actually have his number and been looking for like a reason to connect with him. And so he reaches out. I pitch the vision of this project. He's like, I'm in. And so what Greg does, and it's really beautiful, he takes old discarded like garments, especially like pieces from the military, naval stuff, like old like sailor sweaters and stuff, and he makes new pieces.
Wow.
And so I was like, I want this coat for me because this whole idea of coat of colors also represents kind of, you can pull other things from it, but I was like, I want it to look like it has been through hell. But you wear it like a piece of royalty.
Wow.
And that's what I feel. And he put in a piece of my wife, just to make it super meaningful for me, piece of my wife's wedding dress.
Oh.
He put in like a string from her wedding dress on the back.
My
don't worry, we didn't cut into her wedding dress.
Everyone just cringed.
Yeah, right. It's just a little string in the back. And then this piece of clothing that I've led worship in as a kid more than any other thing.
Oh, I love that.
My favorite pair of jeans. And then my baby blanket.
Oh.
And so it just has like, and then he hand wrote some lyrics of gratitude on it because that was like the first song he checked out and was like, dude, this is a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And so, I'm excited to have that. And then I've got pictures of like my boys, like Banner, who's like at 10 months at the time. He's like laying on the floor, like with a coat kind of wrapped around him, and it's massive.
Okay, well,
so,
listen,
that is stunning.
This is stupid. Go get the record Coat of Many Colors as soon as it comes out. What's the release date?
So right now, it is looking like October 27th. Yeah. I don't know when this will come out.
That makes everybody sad.
Yeah, I know.
I'm feeling the spirit of Dropbox links in my heart because I can't wait that long. But
it's yours.
Okay.
But so many really beautiful songs on here. And the reason why I called it Coat of Many Colors too is there are so many sonic colors on this record. You got Count 'Em This Rock and Roll. You got Praise You Anywhere that's like aggressive, but like church and corporate. You got a song called Miracle Child that I pray makes you weep. And it's because my mom had 6 miscarriages and I'm alive.
Wow.
So I am literally a miracle child.
Wow.
And so many other Coat of Many Colors like Coldplay, so many different looks and colors on this record. And, it's just a picture of the kingdom too. It's like, we're all so different, but so loved by our Father. And when we come together, we make something really beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
We request humbly that we do this again with your wife.
Yes.
Next time, 'cause we've done it twice with you. Brittany on, she's so fun.
Oh, she's so much better than me too. And she's amazing.
You guys together.
Done and done.
I have to say, as we close, the first time I saw you, we always East Coast, West Coast, get ready for church, watching church on the East Coast, oftentimes Elevation. You were on in the background. I had never met you, but you came on stage, we're leading a song. And there was something so violently different about your voice and spirit and tone. And then like seeing your stage presence, immediately my heart just leapt. Like when John the Baptist, looked at me, I was like, this, your heart just goes, oh, that's a really good one.
There's a different spirit about it.
And I remember DMing or I texted Chris Brown and was like, who is this guy? He says your name. And I was just, I don't never do this, but I DM'd you. And I was like, he was like, I slid into your DM.
Freaking out,
We became friends. And we've been able to share some really special moments together.
Yes.
And anyhow, we are in your corner. We're praying for you.
We love you.
We celebrate and champion what God's doing around you. We think the tip of it has not been told, Brandon.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on behalf of every person I know who, if they could, would jump through this camera and speakers and just say thank you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like us, for songs that have carried through difficult moments.
Yes.
We're just grateful, and we love you.
Well, thank you. That means the world, and thank y'all for what you do. I mean, where I'm at right now, here today, and what you're doing and what you've devoted your lives to. I mean, I can't imagine thousands, probably millions, and absolutely millions upon millions of lives are forever changed, and because of what you do and the way that you love all of these people, the millions, but you also what I love about you most is that you really minister to the one, and it's the way you look me in my eyes. And so when I encounter you guys, it makes me want to be a better leader, better follower of Christ, a better father and family man. And just thank you for being such an inspiration. And so it's always an honor to spend time with y'all. I get better.
Oh my gosh. All right, until we meet again.
Yes.
Love you.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to swing by levilusko.com and jennielusko.com to see what's going on in our world.
And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And in the meantime, we would love to connect with you on social media.
Jennie and Levi Lusko, out.